Hello, everybody, and welcome to another episode of 161st and River. Well, I don't normally do post game or post series. I was going to at the beginning of the year, and then, really haven't had the time. But I think that this is an important time to start this again. For the first try series, the Yankees get swept, and the Miami Marlins back up to 500. For the first time since April. For the first time since March 28th, the Yankees are trailing Boston in the American League East. That's bad. Um, so this is an series, but I'm going to talk a lot about today and the series. So first, I'm going to start with my thoughts from today on track. So today, offense right away with Grisham, Homer, Grisham, all things had like a 3-week blip where he wasn't great. Other than that, he's been really consistently very good for the Yankees this year. And it's something you love to see because Trent just seems like such a cool guy. And, he's been really good on both sides of the ball. I know he misplayed a ball in center field at a 35% catch probability. It happens. It would be a blip on the radar if the Yankees won this game. Instead, they lost this game, and I have to bring it up. Anyways, Luis Heel started today's game for the Yankees um, with him, and I'll bring up his final line. In the third, not a lot. I'll get to like Boone, and I'll say that for today. 3 1/3's bad. Not getting length. I know he was on a pitch count, but if you look into the deeper numbers, he walked 4 batters and gave up 5 hits. That's 9 base runners. Now, if we're looking at positives, he didn't give up a home run. All right, that's a positive. That's a good thing. He didn't give up a home run today. You like that because that's something he was doing in his minor league rehabs. He was giving up a couple home runs, so that's a I don't know why I said it on such a high note, but that's positive. The negative, he had no command. He was missing brutally with pitches. The outs he was getting, he was in a lot of deep counts. The fourth inning was his best inning. He struck out 2 batters in the inning. He had 3 on the day, but he struck out 2 on the inning, both swinging, and his command looked better. Not saying it's not going to get there. There were encouraging signs today, but it's not there yet. So that's something the Yankees need to look at. He should be in line to start next if all goes well against Houston, which I believe he could start Friday. No, they're off Thursday, Saturday, so he'll have an extra day off if all goes well. So Saturday, which is old timers day. Pretty good. That'll be a good test for. They're not. They're think by a lot of people. I think everyone's like, "Oh, the Marlins, they stink." They're actually, they're a little gritty. This team. I feel like, if the Yankees had swept them, it might be the other way around. But I feel like I have to give them their compliments because they did do a good job. Then Brent Hedrick came in with 2 on and 1 man out, and he gave up a 3-run home run to Kyle Stowers. Now, a lot of people might be like, what the hell's Boone doing? Why not go to someone with, and someone posted this, why not go to someone with, yeah, the bullpen there, big spot. Here's my answer to that. I'm with Boone on this one. And I'm not on anything else today. This I can give him. Brent Hedrick has handled lefties this year, and Kyle Stowers has struggled against left-handed pitching. Today was the first time he hit a home run against a left-handed pitcher this year. Let that sink in for a second. And this guy had a 3 or 4 homer game this year. He's been very good. First time he's hit a home run against a lefty this year. So that's not Boone's fault. That's the pitcher, and that's luck. All right. So that's that. But Hedrick was able then to stay in for a couple of innings and give you some length, 2 2/3. Then Brubaker, 2 innings of work. So what is that? Didn't use Bednar since Friday, which is good because I didn't want him pitching in Miami ever again. So Bednar hasn't been used since Friday. Bird was used yesterday. Williams hasn't been used since Wednesday, so he's really good to go. Timmy Hill only threw 14 pitches yesterday. Luke Weaver 14, Tim Hill 12, or vice versa, something like that. They both threw about that. So they're rested, is my point, and they're ready to go tomorrow against Texas. That's my point. So if you're looking for silver lining, as they just walked off, I believe. Cubs just walked off the O's. Don't know if that matters, but in the grand scheme of things, it might. As the O's are a bottom feeder right now, but no, never mind. So that's the at-bats. Grisham, great at-bats. Ben Rice had some really good at-bats today. Cody Bellinger, no hits for the second day in a row, but the at-bats got progressively better. Stanton's on a nine-game hitting streak. Chisholm had bad bats to begin the game, and then as the game went on, he had the 2-run homer in the 7th inning, and then had a really nice, good piece of hitting, a single up the middle that was coming right into your living room in the 9th inning, which is a really encouraging sign from someone who has been on the struggle bus for the past couple of weeks. Just no one's really noticed. Dominguez, he batted 500 this series. What am I going to say about him? And then Austin Slater pinch hit for him. I'll get to that in a second. McMahon had his first golden sombrero as a Yankee. That was expected to happen at some point, but he saved a couple runs on defense. So that's a positive. The defense is good from him. Volpe had great at-bats again, and Austin Wells is continuing to struggle. Austin Wells has had a really bad year. Austin Wells has not been himself. I don't know if he's hurt. I don't know what the issue is with him. It hasn't been great for him. And I'm really starting to think either A, him and Rice need to have a 50-50 split of the catching duties, or B, the Yankees need to do with him what they did with what the Mets did with Francisco Alvarez. I don't want to compare the two. Francisco Alvarez was struggling, and the Mets sent him down. The Mets also had catching depth. The Yankees do have J.C. Escara, and he can split time with Ben Rice as well. And he can catch and hit a little bit. But even if it's for 3 weeks, right, send him down for the minimum just to clear his head and call him back. I think that'd be in the Yankees' best interest to consider soon. I'm going to talk about this more in a minute. It's getting late early for the Yankees. Like, there isn't much, baseball is a marathon, not a sprint. We're getting into the home stretch of the season now. We are 3 days into August. The Yankees are 0-3 in the month of August. The Yankees were under 500 in June and July. They're setting themselves up for the same thing. They are in a pennant race. They are losing a pennant race. This team was expected to go back to the World Series. I doubt they make the playoffs at this point the way they play. They don't play with a sense of urgency. They don't play like they care. And the manager sits there and smiles and says, "It's all right in front of us. We control our own destiny. We have the pencil. We write our own decisions." Whatever that moron has to say. That's where I'm at. There's nothing more. There's nothing less. On the Aaron Boone front, I'm going to call him. I'm going to call him on this today. Number one, you pinch hit for Jason Dominguez, which I disagree with, number one, because he's been hitting lefties better as of late. And I disagree with it because he's not done for the rest of the game. And the Marlins know that the deficiency against right-handed pitchers for Austin Slater. So, of course, they're going to a lefty later in the game, even though Chisholm struggles against lefties. And who else is coming up there? McMahon struggles against lefties, right? And Wells, if Volpe got on, struggled against lefties. Instead, they chose the lane of let's go to a righty because Slater's coming up, and we could probably strike out McMahon and Volpe. And that's what happened. A lot of strikeouts today, by the way. The Yankees struck out 14 times today, which is also not getting the job done. All things aside, striking out 14 times isn't exactly the recipe for success, because that means you're not putting the ball in play enough, and you're not pressuring the defense. If you look at these teams, you look at the Marlins, you look at the Blue Jays, you look at the Red Sox, you look at some of these other teams around the league right now, who aggressively they put they pressure defense, they play fundamental baseball, they steal hard. The Yankees don't. And the broadcast is like, well, you don't want to steal bases when you're down by 3. Why not? Make them make the throw. What if Ramirez throws the ball into center field with no outs in the ninth inning? Jazz goes and steals second. I know he advanced on a wild pitch. What if he goes and steals third? And Ramirez throws the ball in the right field and he scores? Or, I mean, I don't think that would have mattered. But throughout the game, if guys got on, why aren't they stealing bases here? Get in a scoring position, cause havoc, make them make the plays. You know what? It's as much of a gamble if you're up by 2 than if you're down by 2. Because if you're up by 2, they could still come back. So that I don't understand. I don't care what the score is. You should always play aggressively, because there's a 50-50 shot that you're going to be safe, and there's a 50-50 shot you're going to be out. And that's not going to change based on the situation. So there's that. Austin Slater pinch hitting for Dominguez. That was a complete disaster. I don't know why he's on this team. I know Cashman just traded for him. I think he's depth for right now, and I believe that when Judge is activated on Tuesday, he'll probably be gone. Unless they want to keep him and they option Caballero, which I don't agree with. I think Caballero should be on the team. He had a bad error on Friday, which is a 1 in 10 chance. I think the Yankees have hangover from that game. That's a 1 in 10 chance of happening, let's call it. But he showed you his positive ability. Pinch ran, got on base, stole second, caused trouble in a tie game, wouldn't you know, and came around to score the go-ahead run. So there's that. And then later in the inning, after Volpe hit the triple down the line, which was a great at-bat by Volpe and a great piece of hitting by Volpe as well, you have Wells coming up who struggled this season, and you don't pinch hit for him. Why wouldn't you pinch hit Rosario against a left-handed pitcher, I believe it was? Why wouldn't you hit Rosario? And then move Rice behind the plate, and if Goldschmidt was available to come in the game later defensively, put him at first. I don't understand why that was such a conundrum, because then when Boone went to the bench for Rice, which I don't know why Rice can't face a left-handed pitcher. He's had some good at-bats against left-handers this year. I don't know why that's a conundrum when Bellinger's better against lefties. So pretty much Aaron Boone, by going to Paul Goldschmidt there, gave away 2 at-bats in the inning, because even Rice could have bunted the runner over, and Bellinger's been better against left-handed pitching, and so is Stanton. So I don't understand what Boone was thinking in that spot. So that's bad managing from the manager, where he doesn't know how to use his pieces, and people, are obviously on Boone, as they always are. I don't want this to turn on to the I hate Aaron Boone show, but I think time's up. They need a new voice. All right, they're flat. They don't care. They don't play urgency, and they're getting clowned by 2 Hall of Famers and 1 should-be Hall of Famer on national television on Fox by Big Papi, Jeter, and A-Rod, saying that they don't play good baseball, they make too many mistakes, and they don't play like they care. And you know what? All 3 of them are 1,000% right. I hope someone took the iPad and showed that to Boone and said, "This is what people are portraying your team right now." 2 guys who are really, Alex Rodriguez should be in the Hall of Fame. I don't care what the hell he did or didn't do. He should be in the Hall of Fame. At the end of the day, baseball is entertainment. He should be in the Hall of Fame because he entertained. everything goes once the game update it sometimes. Last night was one of those where I wanted to get some more thoughts in. I'll probably do that again today. And wanted to get some more thoughts in of things I was thinking. And I had my iPad out. I was where I was now. So nice in New York the past 2 days to watch the games outside, like fall. Anyway, I was watching the pregame show. I want to watch the Speedway or the Classic down in Tennessee, and they're talking about this. I'm like, this is awesome. So I'm writing that. I get the video from Fox, put it in my article, and I put the A-Rod quote right there. It was perfect. A-Rod, like, if we ever did that with the pop up and getting doubled off, if we ever did that, I'd be benched for a week or something like that, or I'd be sitting, my ass would be on the bench. And it's like, thank you, Alex. Like, exactly, because no one would tolerate that. But Aaron Boone tolerates that. Oh no, he's too valuable. I don't care if he's valuable or not. Sometimes the principal is teaching a lesson because now everyone else knows they can get away with that. And then you ask Jazz after the game, yeah, I do it again. No, you shouldn't do it again because obviously you were wrong the first time you did it. Yesterday was a flat, disgusting game where they didn't even show up at the lost the night. And let's the Friday's game because I have a lot to say about this one. Number one, it was a embarrassing loss they had at Lone because fucking Yankees the past two times they've been there. They are now on a if baseball Camilo Duvall. I'm gonna defend Duvall. And what should have been a base hit and possibly the bases loaded one out, if not an RBI single, if not the runner gun down at the plate. If that doesn't get past Caballero, and then he got defense, and he gets a blown save at a wall. I'm gonna start at ever. Never. If Brent Hedrick was available, which he was, right, to go into that lane against the lefty, I know that same lefty, I believe, took him deep today, but you never know, right? Why would you go to Loizaga? Actually, no, it was Edwards at the plate, who I believe Hedrick retired today. So you have Loizaga, who has been dreadful. It's on back-to-back day. So I don't understand that. I don't get it. So Loizaga comes in, completely shits the bed. Then you go to Hedrick, who was great. He got rammed on the error, and then subsequent walk, which they did count as walk. Yeah. Then Bird took a massive shit on the game and gave up the grand slam to Stowers, which, let's be real here. If Loizaga doesn't come in and give up the 2 runs, the grand slam means nothing. And in fact, everything's backed up 2 batters, 3 batters, 2 or 3 batters. And that might not have happened. So this all started with Loizaga. And with Stowers coming up, you had Bednar up in the bullpen. Bednar's numbers, and I know he was horrible. Bednar's numbers against left-handed batters are so much better than Bird. Why on earth wouldn't you have pulled the plug on Bird there and gone to Bednar with the bases loaded and one man out, and have him maybe he gives up a grand slam too. What I guess we'll never know. But Bednar's been so much better against left-handers. So why wouldn't you add your bets against him? Then, of course, Bednar comes in and gives up a home run and another RBI and looked much better the second inning round. And I said my piece about Duvall. He gave up a earned run and 3 runs overall because the defense crapped him. Home plate wasn't great to anyone, and that shouldn't be an excuse of why the Yankees lost Friday night. But my indictment is that is a catastrophic failure that'll happen once in a lifetime. That is not something that's going to happen every time out. These guys aren't going to suck every time out. We already saw Bird bounce back, and we saw Bednar bounce back. You know what? I take him pitching a second inning really well as a bounce back. Duvall, I need to see it. If there's anyone I'm really worried about bouncing back after that, it is Camilo Duvall, because I just don't know enough about him. Bird has options, and he's going to be here. Bednar, he's failed before in his life, and he's failed in that ballpark, which is why he gets a little bit more of a pass. Maybe and it is what it is. Friday was one of the worst games I've ever watched in my life, and one of the biggest colossal failures, and it set them up for the rest of the weekend. Now, you're heading into the week. I'm going to post the series probables when I'm off. It should be, if the Yankees put so game notes are trying to load. My Wi-Fi is very slow today. Yeah, so they posted the game notes. So it should be the stopper tomorrow, Max Fried. Again, yeah, here. Thursday's an off day. Thank God. You're throwing 2 lefties and righties, and you're actually facing a lefty. So it'll be interesting to see what they do in game 1 against Texas. Because McMahon does not hit lefties well. And I wonder if they're going to use that as an opportunity to use Rosario for his first start as a Yankee. He had his first game and had a hit in that comeback against Tampa Bay. But he has not started a game for the Yankees yet. So those are the series probables. I'm posting it right now on X. Yankees. Hashtag Rangers. Okay, so Yankees Rangers series probables are out. So that's what we have for that. It's going to be Fried, Warren, and Rodon against Corbin, Eovaldi, and Leiter. The only one of those pitchers that really scares me is Nathan Eovaldi. He is really good. The Yankees did beat him this season already, but I believe they won 1-0 in that game. So I don't take that as much of a thing. So there's that. I don't know why. Oh, you don't see my screen because I didn't click for you to see my screen. I apologize. There it is. I need to look. I'm gonna look right now with you guys. I know Patrick Corbin has like insane stats, whether he's better on the road or not. I need to look. I can't remember which is. Corbin just got really warm out. Splits. Uh, this week. But he's going up against Freed. That is the Yankees' best chance. They need to get off the schneid. They need to win. All right. The last time they were in Texas, it ended pretty badly. The last time they were in Texas last September is where Clay Holmes closed their job and Luke Weaver took over after he gave up the grand slam. So hopefully some better luck this time down in Texas because that is a nice ballpark. But historically the Yankees haven't played well in Texas, so that's definitely something to watch. Other than that, Yankees need to bounce back. They need a shot of adrenaline, and they need to play better. And they need to start playing better now. I'm going to end the stream there as my iPad just overheated. So thanks. Let's go. Yes.